All right, so here we are in Accelerated 2024. I'm going to click on day one. It's going to scroll me down to the bookmark. I'm going to open up the lesson plan. Really briefly want to go over that we're combining days 1 and 2 of CY1 summer session into day 1 Accelerated. You want to learn students' names, articulate the purpose of CY1, review some policy procedures and expectations of Loyola first-year students, practice active listening, have students log into their Loyola account and review homework assignments, introduce Canvas, introduce PowerSchool, clarify the difference between those two, and then have students interact with modules, assignments, and lockdown browser. So today is a heavy day. It's the heaviest, I think, of the 3 days of Accelerated, so buckle up and let's get into it. You can see our lesson breakdown. Remember, 150 minutes per lesson. So without further ado, I'm here in our slide deck. It's Tuesday, August 6th. Have students find a seat. It's really helpful if you already have them in a circular formation with name tents. They should have their planners on their desk so that they can open to page 24 and reflect on the quote. We have a timer here that you can turn on to help them sort of stay engaged and active. Take attendance via the Google Sheet. Pray the sushi pay. Remind them that this is in their planners. They'll need to memorize it for Theology 9. And really just emphasizing the idea of St. Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us. I would practice that with students. Talk about what is CY1, Cub Year 1 First Year Foundations. It's your intro into the school as a first year student, and that first impressions really matter. At the end of these 3 days that you're going to be writing little narratives about each of the students. So it's not necessarily about being on best behavior, but being the most authentic versions of themselves in an appropriate school setting might be a way of framing it. So why are we here? We're here because we want to know your story, who you are, and who you're becoming. We want you to understand Loyola's story because they're part of this rich tradition. And then finally, we want to co-author the Loyola story. Over these next 4 years, they will be on this journey alongside of us. So something I learned from Mr. Adams is this idea of being brave. And being brave is being at the intersection of innovation and tradition. And so in essence, every year we bring a crop of freshman students. We are learning to be braver because they're co-authoring and innovating who we are, and at the same time, we're steeped in who we are as a tradition. Why are we here? Preparing for high school, easing transition, practicing hard and soft skills, caring for students holistically, Cura Personalis, keeping them in the loop, and meeting new people and providing a network of support. You'll notice I'm going through this slide really quickly because I want to spend more time on the name. This course was created via content collected by our adults and freshman students, and it's for you as well as it's for the adult community. We want to know what that baseline is for all of our students. So starting with the first part of today, we're going to go over norms, the grad, icebreaker, dyads and quads, CY1 expectations, and then homework explained. So go over these norms, maybe have popcorn, have each student read them. These are the 6 norms that we hold at the center of all things that we do at Loyola, not just classes, but also practices, different experiences. Have them commit to one that they're going to do for today. Talk about how today's day is themed on one of our grad values, which is open to growth. Explain that a grad value, we have 6 of them, and it's open to growth, intellectually distinguished, religious, loving, committed to justice, developing as a leader. And that can be found on our website under the graduate at graduation. Again, what we expect a graduate to become once they've graduated. Have a student read what it means to be open to growth. And then during your Cub Year 1 experience, we're going to go over 3 of the 6 characteristics. In Accelerated, it's 1 per day. So with that idea of being open to growth, we're going to engage in this idea of a name picnic. A couple of things you could do. If the name picnic doesn't work for you, you could also do sort of an adjective extravaganza. So in the name picnic, again, if I am in the class, my name is Caitlin, and I'm bringing kimchi, and then maybe I'm next to Randy, and Randy is bringing ravioli, and so Randy's going to say, hi, I'm Randy, I'm bringing ravioli, and this is Caitlin, she's bringing kimchi. Next in line is John, and maybe John's bringing jelly, so John will say, hi, I'm John, I'm bringing jelly, this is Randy, I'm bringing ravioli, and this is Caitlin, she's bringing kimchi. And so again, we want to make sure our students understand that they're going to bring food that starts with the first letter of their first name. We'll go around the circle, and the last student will be the one to do all of the names. I always recommend that you go last as a way of showing that you understand that you got to know the names and that you're willing to do the hardest part of the job. Also, always recommend that students take notes. If they're really anxious about memorization, I think it's a school setting. We want to encourage note-taking. After that, we're going to go ahead and pair our students up into dyads, ask them what they think a dyad is, and they can see in the GIF that it's a group of two or a pair. There's really some fun ways of getting students grouped up. So it could be line yourself up by first name. They just did that name picnic experience. Maybe they can do it quietly and silently. It could be by last name, birth date order. You could do a random name generator. Whatever works for you, pair them up. And we want to make sure they're getting different pairs for different activities. They're going to go into what's called active listening, so have them sit with their pair or partner. And first, what is active listening? What does it look like? What does it sound like? How is the posturing, the eye contact? What does it look like on Zoom, in person, etc.? Partner A, maybe hair length or lives closest to Loyola. You decide what the criteria is. They're going to introduce themselves to their partner and tell their life story in 1.5 minutes. Partner B is going to listen actively to what the partner shares, and you'll need that information later. So it's really important that we exercise that eye contact, that leaning in, that being present, that within this kind of context. They've got a 1.5-minute timer, ready, set, go, and then we'll switch roles. So you'll do that. Then we'll get into quads. We're going to do the same activity. So in dyad's going to pair up with another dyad and make a quad. Once they have their quad, this is the kicker. Each person is going to tell the life story of their partner as their partner. So for example, if I was paired up with Randy, I would say, hi, I'm Randy, this is my life story, and I would say whatever Randy told me. Also, if Randy is paired up with me, he's going to do the same thing for me. He's going to say, hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is her life story or my life story, and then express it. Sometimes we make mistakes, right? And so if someone says something wrong, just say ouch, and the other person will say oops, and we move on, we fix it, and we keep going. 45 seconds per story. You might have classes that are not necessarily evenly broken out into groups of 4. You could do a group of 6 and have them do 30 seconds or groups of 5. Life happens. Then in that same quad group, we're going to go ahead and discuss the quote that they reflected on in their planners. What does it mean to them? How does it apply to their first year at Loyola? What do we think has to do with the course? And then we'll debrief. How was that activity? Telling someone else's story. What does the Durant quote relate to our grad value of open to growth? Why do you think CY1 chose that quote to begin the first day of class? And what did you end up discussing? Once we get them all settled and back in their seats, we're just going to go over some expectations of being prepared, productive, and respectful. Prepared means they're bringing their materials to class every day. This applies to Loyola writ large, but also for this course, you bring your planner and your computer and a writing utensil every class. It's essential and very important, and as well as a secondary device like their cell phone, as long as it's put away. That's going to get 1 point for preparedness. Productivity is making sure that you're using your time wisely, not goofing around, and then being respectful is being respectful of yourself. Like, bring your best self to class, being respectful of the teacher and their authority, being respectful of the people that are in the space, and being respectful of the space in general. Like, this is a classroom, we're using this classroom, and stewarding it in a way that's effective. And why does that matter? Well, because we actually are going to grade for participation each day, and 3 points, a 3 out of 3 is if they're productive, prepared, and respectful. If at any point we have students that are not engaging in that way, we will lower their points. And again, if they get a 2 or a 1 or a 0, it might mean that they have conversations with me, as well as with our dean of students. To be C4L, you have to start with CY1. So we have this notion, this idea that a Cub for Life has to start at the foundational level, and that these are the habits that we're hoping to instill in our students as they enter into their freshman year. And now we're going to take a break. You can decide based off of where you are at in the timeline how much you're going to need. I'd say 10 minutes is usually a solid break, but you might do 15. When they come back, they have 2 things that they're going to do to conclude the day. First, going to talk about digital protocols. Now they can take out their laptops. If they took out their laptops already, I would just say a good rule of thumb is most teachers don't want to see those MacBooks out until they're instructed to take them out. 45 degrees versus 90 degrees, have them practice that protocol. If I'm asking for students to shut their laptop lids, or 45 degrees, it's because I want them to focus on me, and if it's 90 degrees, it's so that they can begin their work. We want to have students have fully charged laptops, and we also want to teach them how to pause their notifications, maybe ask if a student knows how to do that, and show you, the facilitator, how to do that, and have them turn on Do Not Disturb or focus. We'll talk about PowerSchool versus Canvas. Before you explain it, ask if students already know the difference. And if they do, have them articulate it. If they don't, just sort of flesh it out. PowerSchool is our grade book. It's where their schedules are published. And Canvas is basically a website for all their classes. Canvas students have access to, but no parents, whereas PowerSchool parents and guardians do have access to that. We're also going to talk about the Loyola Bell schedule. So why is that important? We're a 5-5-4-5 schedule. So reason why we're bringing up the Bell schedule is because you can also find it on PowerSchool. And we're showing them this, that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the second week of school. The first week of school is kind of wonky, so you can remind them that we have on the 15th Mass 1, 2, 3, and on the 16th we have 4, 5, 6, 7. So our schedule is not typical to what we expect for the first week of school, which is 5, 5, 4, 5, 4. So, and that's the number of periods. If it's a rotating schedule, what should we anticipate the next day being? Hopefully they say 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. And then Wednesday is a 4, which means there's something going on. And so we want to mention to them that there's a late start. That's when the faculty meeting takes place, and that they won't begin their first hour class until 9:30. We also want to just talk about academic time, that it's program time for them to meet with their facilitators, and no practices are allowed to happen from that 2:15 to 2:45 span. So it's really a great opportunity to meet with their teachers. Lastly, we want to talk about how it continues to rotate. If it's a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. We do have academic time on Thursday, and we have this amazing early dismissal. We end at 12:38 p.m., but there is no lunch and no academic time, so just to be aware of that. So they're now going to go to PowerSchool, and they're going to go to their Google Calendar and fill out their second of week school guide, which is in their planners. They haven't done the Canvas 101 assignment, so they might not have this bookmark, so you can always have them go to the student dashboard, and they can access all of their applications there. And if they want to get ahead, you could tell them to bookmark so that they're starting to get that assignment done ahead of time. Then we want them to map out. I always have students literally on the map circle their first period class, their second period class, and draw arrows. The reason why we're mapping it out is because if they have a Brendo class, they need to be really mindful about that 8-minute passing period. At this point, I would have students put their laptops 45 degrees, and then I would go in the student view of Canvas. So let's actually do that. So I go to Canvas. I would instruct them and say, here's Canvas. You're going to notice I have a ton of what we call course cards. So this is the dashboard, and each course card represents a course. You can see I've got a lot. So let's say I'm in Randy's class. I'm going to put it in student view. And this is what we call a landing page or home page. On the landing page, you're going to find the agenda for the day, everything that we've talked about. And then you're also going to notice the homework that I will have assigned to you, that Canvas 101 assignment and Genius Skin Canvas and PowerSchool app. Once we're here, if we click on this image or go to the sidebar, you're going to notice that we have what's called a module. Modules are organized by chapters usually, but in this case for CY1, it's organized by units. So day 1, open to growth. This is all we're doing for the day 1 class. And then the module scavenger hunt, which we're about to embark on, day 2 and day 3. So typically modules are really helpful for students with regard to kind of staying organized. Then we're going to go to calendar, and in the calendar you're going to notice that we don't really see anything because this is in July. If we go to August, we can see a ton of assignments for CY1, which might feel a little bit overwhelming. If I were to unclick this box, oh no, all of my assignments disappeared. I must not have any homework. This happens so many times to first year students that I always have to tell them to go to their calendar, highlight that box, and then they're going to see their assignments. Also, most students prefer the agenda view because it feels a little less overwhelming than the month and week view. So I always recommend that students do that. Lastly, we're going to go back to our dashboard. Actually, I'm going to leave student view for this. And we're going to notice that I have all these courses. Let's pay attention to this Cendejas course. When I go to courses and click on all courses, we'll notice that the things that I have starred are my favorited courses. If I unstar Mr. Cendejas' class and go back to my dashboard, we're going to notice that he disappears. Sometimes when students have been messing around with their Canvas, they'll think, oh my God, I've been disenrolled from a class. And normally the solution is always go to dashboard, courses, all courses, and then we want to favorite that course. And if we go back to the dashboard, we're going to find that Cendejas will pop right back up. So sometimes that happens. We want to teach students to favorite and unfavorite. A lot of less things to work on. You'll send an announcement. You might actually want to send a test announcement and just let them know that announcements will pop up once they populate. And then we're getting into it. The rest of the class period, they're going to be engaging in this module scavenger hunt. I think it's really important for them to understand that they can't skip around. They have to go step by step in order to access these different facets. The thing that gets really tricky is the are you locked in? Just know that that's going to be something that might have some tech difficulties. Send them to P208, the tech office if necessary. And then we'll go over homework, looking ahead. Next class, you need your planner, you need your MacBook, you need your writing utensil, you need to bring a cell phone. That's to get that preparedness point for day 2. The homework that's due tomorrow at 10 a.m. is your Canvas 101 assignment. And then also download the following apps. And then we'll see you tomorrow. That's class.